wake up one morning and realize the spark is gone. You're not as strong, you don't sleep as deeply. Your mornings start without the energy or the edge you used to have. And when it comes to intimacy, something's different. But you brush it off. You say, it's probably just age. But what if it's not? What if these subtle changes, less drive, more belly fat, feeling tired even after a full night's sleep, are actually signals from your body? And what if the culprit isn't just aging, but a shift in one powerful hormone, testosterone? After 50, men often experience a gradual decline in testosterone. Not a sudden crash, but a slow erosion that affects everything from your mood to your metabolism, your muscles to your mindset. And yet, millions of men never get tested, never talk to their doctor, never take control. This video is not about selling a miracle fix. It's about science, strategy, and smart decisions. We'll unpack how testosterone really works in your body, what actually causes it to drop, and how to know if low T is truly behind the changes you're feeling. Then we'll walk through practical, evidence-backed ways to support your hormone health, naturally, safely, and sustainably. Because feeling like yourself again isn't about turning back time. It's about knowing what's changing and taking the right steps today. It doesn't happen all at once. You don't suddenly lose your strength, your drive, or your confidence overnight. It's gradual. One day, you're skipping the gym. A few months later, your jeans fit tighter around the waist. You catch yourself avoiding mirrors. Sex feels like a chore, or worse, like a memory. You tell yourself you're just tired. You blame work, or stress, or age. But under the surface, something else may be shifting. Testosterone levels in men begin to decline subtly as early as the mid-30s, but it's often after 50 that the symptoms become impossible to ignore. Not just reduced libido, but also decreased morning erections, lowered motivation, loss of muscle mass, increased fat around the belly, trouble concentrating, and even mild depression. This is not just about performance in the bedroom. Low T, often called low T, can affect how you move, think, feel, and live. Yet many men delay taking action. Some are embarrassed. Others are misinformed. Some buy into the myth that it's just part of getting older, while others go straight to online clinics pushing injections before doing any real testing. Both extremes are risky. This is your wake-up call, not to panic, but to understand what's happening and what you can do. Low T is real, but not every man needs treatment. What matters is getting the facts, understanding your own symptoms, and working with a trusted healthcare provider to evaluate what's truly going on. In this video, we'll help you do exactly that, step by step. Because this isn't about chasing youth. It's about protecting your quality of life, your relationships, and your long-term health as a man in your 50s, 60s, and beyond. Starting now. David is 58. He runs a small landscaping business in Arizona. Lately, he's been feeling tired by noon, snapping at his employees and skipping workouts more often than not. Sex? Rare. He gained 15 pounds over the past 2 years, mostly around the belly, and figured it was just middle age catching up. He never thought about hormones, but during a checkup, his doctor noticed he hadn't had morning erections for months. That, combined with his weight gain and mood shifts, prompted a blood test. His total testosterone came back low, twice, on early morning samples. But instead of jumping straight to TRT, David's doctor suggested a 12-week lifestyle reboot. More protein, strength training twice a week, better sleep, less alcohol. The results? His energy returned, his mood lifted, and his relationship reignited. Then there's Marcus. He's 65, a retired engineer in Ohio. Always slim, rarely sick. But he'd been feeling flat, no motivation, low libido, poor sleep. A friend suggested low T. He booked labs online, got a prescription fast, and started injections. At first, it felt amazing, but 6 months later he noticed his blood pressure spiking. His hematocrit went up. His skin broke out. Worse, he hadn't had a full hormone evaluation to begin with. No baseline labs, no free testosterone, no PSA. Eventually, Marcus went to a urologist. They paused TRT, ran proper tests, and discovered that sleep apnea, not low T, was driving many of his symptoms. After starting CPAP and cleaning up his habits, he stabilized and avoided long-term risks. 2 men, similar symptoms, but only one path started with the right testing, the right timing, and the right conversations. The takeaway? Low T is not a yes or no condition. It's a spectrum. And your path forward depends on how you approach it, with data, not guesswork.
Testosterone isn't just a sex hormone. It shapes your muscle mass, fat distribution, energy, motivation, sleep quality, and even your mood. And after 50, its decline can be subtle or dramatic, depending on your health, lifestyle, and genetics. Let's break it down simply. Testosterone is made in your testicles under orders from the brain. The hypothalamus sends a signal to the pituitary gland, which then tells your testicles to produce testosterone. This chain, called the HPT axis, can break down at several points. The brain might stop signaling, the testicles might not respond, or both. Most men lose testosterone gradually, about 1% per year after age 30. But the more belly fat you carry, the faster it can fall. Why? Because fat tissue turns testosterone into estrogen, especially around the gut. Then there's SHBG, sex hormone binding globulin. As you age, SHBG tends to rise, and that means more of your testosterone gets bound and inactive. So even if your total testosterone looks normal, your free T, the part that actually works, may be low. This is why a single number doesn't tell the whole story. You could feel lousy with a total testosterone of 400 if your free T is low. Or you could feel great at 300 if your free T is stable and your body is responsive. That's why good evaluation matters. A proper hormone assessment includes more than just total testosterone. It may also look at free T, SHBG, LH, FSH, and prolactin, especially if you're considering long-term treatment or already have symptoms. The goal isn't just to boost your numbers. It's to understand your hormonal environment, your symptoms, and your options, so that whatever you do, it's based on knowledge, not hype.
Before anyone talks about boosting testosterone, the first step is testing it properly. That means 2 separate early morning blood tests. Why early? Because testosterone follows a daily rhythm, peaking in the morning and dipping at night. And why twice? Because levels can fluctuate day to day, especially if you're under stress, not sleeping well, or fighting off an illness. If both tests show low total testosterone, that's a red flag. But it's not the whole picture. You also want to look at free testosterone, the part that actually works in your body. Free T can be low even when total T looks okay, especially if your SHBG is high. This is common in older men, men with thyroid issues, or those on certain medications. If your free T is borderline or low and you have symptoms, that builds the case for low T. But hormone testing doesn't stop there. If results are low, your doctor may check other labs to understand why. LH and FSH tell us if the issue is in the brain or the testicles. Prolactin checks for rare but treatable pituitary issues. TSH rules out thyroid problems, and PSA, a prostate screening, may be ordered if you're considering testosterone therapy. Beyond hormones, it's smart to review your overall health picture. That includes blood pressure, waist size, fasting glucose or A1C, cholesterol, and signs of sleep apnea like loud snoring, morning headaches, or daytime fatigue. Why does this matter? Because testosterone doesn't work in isolation. It interacts with your metabolism, sleep, stress, and inflammation. If you miss the bigger picture, you might treat the wrong thing or make things worse. Bottom line, get tested before you guess. And don't stop at one number. The more complete the map, the better the plan.
Here's the good news. For many men over 50, low or borderline testosterone isn't a permanent sentence. In fact, some of the most powerful ways to raise T naturally don't come in a bottle or a shot. They come from what you do every day. Let's start with weight. Even a 5 to 10% drop in body weight, especially around the belly, can lead to a meaningful rise in testosterone. Visceral fat isn't just stored energy. It acts like an endocrine disruptor, turning testosterone into estrogen and driving inflammation. Next up, strength training. Lifting weights 2 to 3 times per week has been shown to increase testosterone, boost insulin sensitivity, and preserve muscle mass, all key for men over 50. You don't need to lift heavy. Focus on compound movements like squats, rows, and presses, using form over ego. Now let's talk sleep. Testosterone production peaks during deep sleep. If you're cutting corners, staying up too late, drinking too much, or scrolling in bed, you're sabotaging one of your body's best repair cycles. Aim for 7 to 8 hours, and if you snore or wake up tired, ask your doctor about sleep apnea. Diet matters too. Make sure you're getting enough protein, ideally spread throughout the day. Include healthy fats like olive oil, avocado, and fatty fish. And don't fear carbs, but choose whole food sources like oats, beans, and sweet potatoes. What you avoid matters too. Excess sugar, ultra-processed snacks, and heavy alcohol can all suppress testosterone. Don't forget stress. Cortisol and testosterone compete. Chronic stress, whether from work, loneliness, or health issues, can tank your T levels over time. Find outlets. That could be walking, music, prayer, therapy, or simply asking for help. Finally, consistency beats intensity. You don't need to be perfect, you just need to be steady. Because these levers don't just raise testosterone, they raise your quality of life. And they're within your control. You don't need exotic powders or expensive supplements to support your testosterone. You just need smart, consistent nutrition and a little truth to cut through the noise. Let's start with protein. Your body needs it to build muscle and maintain testosterone production. Spread your intake across the day. Think 25 to 30 grams per meal. Go for lean meats, eggs, Greek yogurt, tofu, fish, and legumes. If you're losing muscle or recovering from illness, you may need even more. Next, healthy fats. Testosterone is made from cholesterol. That doesn't mean loading up on bacon, but it does mean including fats like olive oil, avocados, nuts, seeds, and fatty fish. Don't fear fat, fear processed junk. Carbs? They're not the enemy. They help lower cortisol, especially when paired with protein. Choose whole sources, beans, lentils, sweet potatoes, oats. Avoid the white, fluffy stuff and sugary drinks that spike insulin and crash your energy. What about so-called T killers? You've probably heard myths like soy lowers testosterone or certain fruits raise estrogen. But in normal amounts, foods like tofu, edamame, and even papaya are safe. Most of the fear comes from exaggerated animal studies or megadose supplements, not real-world eating. Now, coffee. Yes, caffeine can give you energy and support workouts, but it can also spike cortisol, especially on an empty stomach. If you feel jittery or wired, try having your coffee after breakfast instead of first thing. And don't overlook mouthwash. Strong antiseptic rinses can wipe out the oral bacteria that help convert dietary nitrates, like those from beets and leafy greens, into nitric oxide. Skip those right before and after nitrate-rich meals. Stick to tongue cleaning and gentle brushing. Bottom line, eat real food, eat it regularly, and stop chasing magic ingredients. Your hormones don't need hype, they need habits. Let's talk about treatment. Not every man with low testosterone needs testosterone replacement therapy, or TRT, and not every man on TRT actually needed it in the first place. That's why smart evaluation comes first. If you've had consistent symptoms and 2 confirmed low morning testosterone tests, you may be a candidate for TRT. But the decision should never be automatic. It should be informed, cautious, and personal. First, medications. Certain drugs can lower testosterone or reduce sexual function, like some antidepressants, especially SSRIs. Blood pressure medications like thiazide diuretics or older beta blockers, opioids, and even some statins. That's why your doctor should review your full medication list before you start any hormone treatment. Next, supplements. There are endless products marketed for male vitality, but very few have strong evidence. If you're deficient in vitamin D, zinc, or magnesium, correcting those may help. But if your levels are normal, megadosing won't raise your T. Herbs like ashwagandha or fenugreek, promising in small studies, but not proven in the long term. Be cautious, and always tell your doctor what you're taking. Now, TRT. If it's indicated, there are several ways to take it: gels, injections, patches, or pellets. Each has pros and cons. Gels are steady, but require daily use and skin precautions. Injections can offer strong symptom relief, but may cause spikes and crashes. Your doctor will help you choose based on your lifestyle and medical history. But TRT isn't just plug and play. Before starting, you should have baseline labs: hematocrit to watch for thickened blood, PSA to screen prostate health, and estradiol to monitor estrogen levels. TRT can suppress your body's natural production of testosterone and sperm. If you're still planning to have children, discuss fertility preservation before starting. And once you're on TRT, monitoring matters. Labs every 3 to 6 months, symptom check-ins, ongoing conversations. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a shared, long-term decision. Testosterone therapy can change lives, but it works best when you start it for the right reasons, with eyes open, and the right team beside you. Let's bring it all together. If you've been feeling off, low energy, low drive, low confidence, it's not just in your head, and it's not just aging. It could be a hormonal shift that deserves attention, not avoidance. But now, you've got the map. You know what testosterone does, why it drops, how to test it properly, and how lifestyle can often shift it in the right direction. You also understand when treatment might be appropriate and when it's not. The key now is action and consistency. Start with a 12-week plan. Week 1, get labs. Talk to your doctor. Know your numbers. Week 2 through 4, clean up your diet. More protein, fewer processed foods. Less sugar, more fiber. Hydrate. Weeks 5 through 8, build movement momentum. Walk daily. Add resistance training twice a week. Weeks 9 through 12, sleep deeper. Set a bedtime. Limit alcohol. Cut late-night screens. All the way through, track symptoms: mood, energy, libido, strength,
waist size. These small changes stack up. If you feel better, stronger, and clearer, great, keep going. If not, bring those changes and results back to your doctor. Now you have data, not guesswork. Your health isn't about chasing a number. It's about reclaiming how you feel in your own body. So here's your next step. Schedule a checkup with your primary care provider. Ask about testosterone testing, your symptoms, and the options available to you. Because when it comes to hormone health after 50, silence helps no one. But action? Action changes everything.